There's more to imagine when you listen. So let your imagination soar with Audible. Audible has audio titles from every genre that will inspire you to imagine new worlds, possibilities, and ways of thinking. As an Audible member, you get to choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog. Enjoy an exciting reawakening of a beloved classic with the Audible original, David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. Produced by Academy Award-winning director Sam Mendes. Starring Ncuti Gatwa, Helena Bonham Carter, and Theo James. This adaptation breathes new life into a familiar tale. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500.
Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Welcome to How to Survive, the show that teaches you how to survive the stuff that can kill you.
Like car pileups or aggressive monkeys or... They're not so funny if they're aggressive, you guys. They could tear your face off. We've done that episode.
They also like to tear off testicles.
That's right. Or traumatic brain injuries.
And the stuff that just makes you wish you were dead.
Like missing the eclipse. Or caffeine mismanagement. Or family trauma.
Ugh. I don't want any of that.
I want the monkeys.
Hit it, Karen.
I just started jamming.
Hit it, Karen. Oh, God.
Ground is shaking under our feet. Mountains on fire, flooding in the street. Can't breathe the air, can't fight the feeling. Gobbling down Xanax ain't the way to be dealing. Gotta do better than just getting high. We gotta stick together if we're gonna survive. How to survive. How to survive.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
It sort of feels like it's been longer than a week and less than a week at the same time that I've seen you guys.
Time is elastic.
It is a flat circle.
Is it because of your caffeine mismanagement?
Yes. I said earlier before the show started that I'm very tired because of some caffeine mismanagement.
Yes.
And then we all decided that was a good name for a band, or I said a competitor on Drag Race, or what else did we say was a good name for?
Comedy special. Podcast.
Yeah,
Yes.
podcast,
It's
anything.
universal.
Just take it if you want
works
it.
for anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to get up early twice last week.
I'm so sad for you.
Yeah, Oliver went on a weekend trip to a thespian festival
Ooh.
in a place called Upland, California.
Doesn't sound like a place I
Nope.
want to go.
And
Lots of Trump signs, I bet.
well, he said it's very wealthy because it was held at a high school, and he said the high school was like the nicest. He said the auditorium was like going to the Pantages or something.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. So, which is not how I would picture a place called Upland.
Yeah, why do they need a glorious auditorium in Upland?
I don't know.
Their theater program is robust.
Maybe it is.
That would be really cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope
So
I'm wrong.
they competed in. They brought their Shakespeare. They brought a scene from Midsummer.
Nice.
And they didn't place, but they got something called Superior, which means that if they wanted, they could go to a bigger competition in Indiana.
Okay. Will they?
He says probably not. I mean, they'd have to all four agree, and like one of the kids in the scene is a senior, so I sort of feel like she might be like,
And she's like, fuck Indiana.
yeah,
I hate Indiana.
I don't know. I got the feeling that none of them wanted to do it, but I was like, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. You get to,
I would do it.
yeah.
Road
It's in
tripping.
June though, so I don't. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
Anyway, so I had to get up because he had to be at school at 6:45. So, yeah.
not. I'm so sad
So
for you.
somehow, even though I slept on the weekend, I'm still sort of recovering a little bit.
And you drank too much coffee. So you have caffeine mismanagement issues.
Caffeine mismanagement.
I looked up what I assume is this place.
Upland,
Yeah, and they have their motto
the high school.
of this theater is "We have a choice, to live or to exist." That's their motto. Who do you
Wow.
think said that?
Henry David Thoreau.
That's a good guess.
Thanks.
It's a very good guess.
Gandhi.
Gandhi. That's also a good guess. No, it's Harry Styles.
Wait a second.
That's the
That's the motto of the. Hold on a
It's
second.
right there on their front page.
That's so funny.
shout out to our Upland listeners.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that tattooed.
He said they kept
on your neck.
To exist.
Get it on your neck.
Yes.
At this point, if you get a tattoo, you got to get it on your neck, Garen.
Yeah. That way it can fold over.
Well, you can hide it in the folds.
Yes, of course.
You know.
Oh God, who did I read? Or no, or was it Jimmy? Oh, someone told me that someone was like, "Oh, Jimmy was telling me that there was this game show host who was a really successful game show host and doesn't work anymore. So he's just like, screw it, and he has like tattoos up to his neck." It wasn't like one of the big.
Mark McGrath?
Wink Martindale?
Yes,
Chuck Woolery.
it wasn't one of the big.
It's all Make
six.
America Great Again.
and Newts and cottage cheese. That's all I remember from his. He had a reality show. Was that he loved Newts and cottage cheese, which I do too, because I grew up with it.
Oh, I hate cottage
But
cheese.
he said Knutson,
Oh,
which maybe
stop
it is
it.
how you pronounce it.
No, it
Well,
isn't.
Matt Knutson, he pronounces it Knutson, but I don't know. You don't like cottage cheese?
No.
Even the small, curd.
No.
For some reason, when it's regular or when it's low fat or
Yeah.
non-fat, the curds are like smaller and it's
Okay.
less gross.
Okay.
You don't like it. I get it.
No,
I don't like ricotta.
I like ricotta.
Oh, I hate ricotta. It's like the worst.
Okay. So no ravioli for you?
I don't. Well, sometimes they'll
What about
use-
lasagna?
I hate lasagna.
Oh, God.
Even when I ate meat, because I don't like, because the ricotta is just nope.
Okay.
No, thank
I
you.
use cottage cheese instead of ricotta.
Yeah, some people do that.
I have heard that. I don't know, but hot cottage cheese, that also grosses me out.
Hot cottage cheese is another good name for a RuPaul contestant.
Yes, I'm gonna call Garen hot cottage cheese, and I'll tell you why.
That's his drag name.
Hot cottage cheese.
I'm gonna call you hot cottage cheese because you look really good today.
Oh, thank you.
I do. This is. I don't know if I've ever said this out loud. I really don't enjoy long hair on men.
Okay.
But it works on you.
Well,
It looks really good.
the Pardo Koenig household likes my hair.
Oh,
Okay.
Jimmy said the
He
same.
likes it too, yeah.
And with that shirt, it's
Yeah.
like a totally
I
different
feel
look.
like I'm 90s Bon Jovi right now.
I was gonna say maybe a little country, but not.
That's kind of.
Oh, maybe
Was he
he's
kind of
embracing
grown?
the new Beyonce album.
That must be it.
Do you like
I did
it? Have you listened to
once, so I did. I guess I just took on the.
Yeah.
It's good.
I like a
think
lot
it's
of
gonna
it.
win album of the year, to be honest.
Well,
If it
she
doesn't-
better. She better, because
I know, her
man,
husband's gonna
I do
kill
not want to
everybody.
see what Jay-Z does.
Nope.
It's
Is
gonna
it
be
good? I
tough.
haven't listened to it.
I love a lot of it. I
Yeah.
think it's incredible. I mean, I wouldn't call it a country album. It's a lot of genres.
Is it all covers or just
Nope.
some covers?
It's not. It's some, and there's like you can hear Prince in there on a few songs, and there's a lot of like I would say certainly contemporary pop, a lot of folk feel, like
Oh, okay.
Fleetwood Mac feel,
Oh yeah.
right? It's so good. I think it's really good.
Now I've not bought an album in 20 something years. You just buy it online.
I didn't buy it.
No, but I mean, you didn't download the whole album.
Well, no, I just listened to it on Apple Music.
Oh, you can listen to the whole thing.
For sure, yeah.
I'm so old. I just don't listen to music that much, it turns out. I do when Oliver's in the car, but
Yeah.
mostly I just listen to a podcast or MSNBC or Howard Stern. So I don't listen to a ton of music.
Yeah, we listen to a lot of music at home, like while we're cooking and hanging out. And
Oh, you're like the Big Chill, but with your children.
we're definitely the
Big
big chill.
children.
Benjamin is Kevin Kline.
Oh, he's the
And-
best.
Yeah, he is. And my husband is, I don't even know who else is in that movie. I can't remember.
William Hurts the Body, right?
Kevin
Costner's the body. Is William Hurt in that movie?
Yes.
Your husband's definitely William Hurt.
Okay.
I mean, he's tall and blonde.
Okay.
He's definitely William Hurt.
All right.
You're Mary Jo Beth. What was her name? Mary
Mary
Kay Letourneau? Am I her?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to have sex with a child.
Mary Beth Williams.
No, Jo Beth Williams.
Jo Beth Williams.
Okay. I'll be Jo Beth
Mary Kay
Williams.
Place is the other one.
But are they both in it?
Yes.
I like Mary Kay Place.
Glenn Close is the third one, right? Glenn Close?
Is Alex going to be Glenn Close? Gosh, we got to figure this out, guys.
I just can't remember the movie that well.
Me either. I know I love this is random. When I was like 19, that soundtrack was my gateway into like Marvin Gaye.
Okay, I was going to say my brother for Christmas one year gave me the soundtrack to that movie.
Yeah.
And I think now if I listened to it, I would be like, I don't want to ever
It's
hear
all
these
like,
songs
bet
again.
you wonder how I knew.
I can't.
But like, I really got into Marvin Gaye from that, and I love Marvin Gaye. I got so into Marvin Gaye that I was like, I knew all his duets with like I was like, oh, this is the one with Tammy Terrell, and like,
Wow.
I'm very into Marvin Gaye.
I don't even know who Tammy Terrell is.
Oh, I think she was the one that had a brain tumor. Brain like aneurysm while they were singing on stage and died or
What?
something crazy like that. And, like,
whoa,
Yeah.
tragedy just followed this guy around.
yeah.
I didn't, wow. Because he
was
his
shot.
father killed him,
He
right?
was shot by his dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Here in LA.
And isn't that what sort of Purple Rain is, the movie is a little bit based on?
Oh, I didn't know that. That movie's ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but Oliver had to watch it in school.
Oh, really?
I'm like, oh, that's uncomfortable because there's all those like I don't remember it being sexy, but I was in 4th grade, so maybe it's not that sexy. But yeah, he said it's really bad. Like, I just haven't
bad,
seen it
yeah.
since it came out.
I went and saw it like when Prince died. It was
Aw.
they put it back in theater. Is that when they put it back in theaters again?
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to the movies with my friend Anne, who is also a big Prince fan, and we went and saw it. And I was like, "This movie is so dumb."
Yeah.
but I love Prince.
Oh my god,
I love Purple Rain. Like, so good, so
It's
talented,
a flawless album, right? I mean, it's
perfect. But anyway, I think you'd really love the new Beyonce album. It's a lot of fun.
okay, yeah.
It's all kinds of influences. It's good. I mean, some of it I'm like, this is fine, but like a lot of it I really like.
Have you seen? I think it was on Instagram or TikTok, one of those things where I saw it through something else.
Yes.
But this woman, I think she's from England or something. She's
Okay.
a white woman, but she mouths. She does all the parts to Destiny's Child
Yes.
songs, but she just mouths them.
Okay.
And it's that, what's that song that goes, oh, 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 like they do it back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know
That
what I'm
could
talking?
be every
No,
decision.
it's just very specific. I know. I'll find it during the break. It's so funny, but she does like the lip moves.
Yeah.
And then she does them like just sing each other just by their looks. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Okay. I'm
it was Instagram.
I'm into hearing it.
Yeah.
And seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, she just
Hearing it.
She doesn't like do blackface or anything
Thank
embarrassing.
God.
No, it's really funny. She just
I know. I was like, this could get.
no, it's not. It's
Okay.
honestly she like puts on a stupid wig
Yeah.
for each character just
Yeah.
to distinguish which one is which.
Yeah.
But it's really funny.
Sometimes white ladies are funny.
It suddenly occurred to me in a panic last night. There was a Zoom meeting for parents of juniors last night.
Yeah.
About like everything you need to do for college. You know, which is stressful enough. 'Cause
Sure.
It's like, oh, you're supposed to have a job and volunteer and do
Yeah.
extracurriculars. And it's like, I literally don't understand how one kid could do all those things unless they're like, you know, one of those super children.
Right.
But also I was like, I fucking have to teach him how to make pasta. I seriously was like, I have to teach. I mean,
Don't worry, he doesn't have to know from scratch
He's
like my
made.
son.
I know, no. I mean, I think he's made pasta before.
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
like, I'm gonna have to walk him through. I mean, it's not like I know how to make a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna have to walk him through the basics.
Yeah.
Like, I have to make a list of things I need to walk him through before he goes to college.
I mean, he'll figure it out in college if you don't. Don't worry.
I don't know. He's not exactly.
He's not going to starve, honey.
No, he'll just eat out all the time, but that's so expensive.
How
honey.
can he? Where's he going to get the money? He won't be able
Dueling
to.
honeys.
What?
Dueling honeys.
Dueling honeys.
Did I say honey twice?
No, you said honey, so then I said honey because it sounded so condescending.
I didn't mean it to
I
sound
know.
condescending. I'm sorry if it did.
No, it was hysterical.
I was just thinking, like, he'll eat ramen, like a lot of college students.
I know, but does he know how to eat water?
What I could do, you know what would be funny? Send Benjamin over
Yes, to give him a cooking class.
to give him a cooking class.
Yes, but he'll be so grossed out because Benjamin will.
I won't have him like make a whole fish or something.
right.
I'm going to share some information for you guys and our listeners about traumatic brain injuries.
Ooh.
Sometimes I feel like I have one. Oh wait, I did have one.
You did?
I got one when I was a kid.
I think
what?
I think one maybe caused me to have a seizure disorder, and then I think I had another one
Because
when
of a
I did
seizure?
have a seizure. But since I was never properly assessed,
Wait, are you going to tell us about the first one that may have started all of this?
well, I can't, you know what? I can't really say, but I did once fall. I did once jump on a rusty mattress in an abandoned house as a child, fell and lost consciousness, and was never taken to receive medical care.
Okay, I have a lot of questions. The first of which is, how does a mattress get rusty?
No, the box springs.
Okay.
So like old mattress with box springs in an abandoned house where I was playing with a cousin.
Did you jump from a staircase
Did I jump from a staircase?
onto the mattress? Or was it mattress was
jumping-
outside?
No, inside an abandoned house. Jumping up, jumping, fell off onto the floor, onto my head,
Oh my God.
and lost consciousness.
And then how did you get home?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
I was like 5.
Oh, you were 5.
Yeah.
Was this an older cousin?
No, she was also 5.
Holy shit. Okay. So you lost consciousness. You told your parents.
Oh.
And they were like, who cares?
I don't think they said who cares, but I think
Yes, they did. They
said-
spit in your face and said,
they
who cares?
stomped on my head and said, "You want to see a head injury,
Right.
bitch?"
So, and no one brought you to the hospital.
No.
So you think that might be the start of all the seizures, which I don't see why.
I mean, I
Not.
also know that my grandmother was listed as having epilepsy. So
Right.
it's
She fell off a bed.
but she
too.
also had a, raging alcoholism issue and maybe fell off multiple beds.
Yeah.
So
Jeez
who knows?
Louise.
The point is, I'm going to tell you guys what a traumatic brain injury is, and you can decide if you've had one.
Okay.
Everyone can know or not. And here's what the Mayo Clinic. I can never
I
get
know,
that.
It's just mayo, like
Guys,
mayonnaise.
it's my brain injury.
I think it must be.
All right. Traumatic brain injury usually results from a violent blow or jolt to the head or body. An object that goes through the brain tissue, such as a bullet or shattered piece of skull, also can cause a traumatic brain injury. See, you can get it different ways.
Sure.
So there's mild traumatic brain injury,
Mild traumatic.
and that can also affect your brain cells temporarily, right? More serious traumatic brain injury can result in bruising, torn tissues, bleeding, and other physical damage to the brain. These injuries can result in long-term complications or death.
Oof.
All right, I'm going to give you some facts. In 2021, there were 69,000 TBI-related deaths. Some groups are at greater.
Wow.
Some groups are at greater risk. I'm going to tell you who these groups are. You're not going to be surprised.
People who have been shot in the head.
Exactly. Service members and veterans, people experiencing homelessness, people in correctional and detention facilities. You can't believe how common it is for people in the prison system to have traumatic brain injuries. It is such a high percentage.
Okay, wait. So let me just back up for a second.
Go ahead.
Does that mean that they've had it prior to landing in jail or that they're getting it in jail?
Yes, and.
Both. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Survivors of intimate partner violence, people living in rural areas. All right. Here are the most common ways a person gets a TBI. I'm just saying TBI.
We get it.
You got it, right?
Yeah.
Falls, which account for half of the traumatic brain injuries.
Oh.
Okay. Firearm-related injury. Suicide is the most common cause of TBI-related death. Okay. I'm just going to say.
Wait. Suicide is the most common cause. So meaning you have a brain injury and then you kill yourself?
No, that's what gives you the brain injury.
Come on. So they're calling a suicide?
Yeah, that's what it's.
That's listed as a traumatic brain injury?
Yeah.
But then, I mean, anyone shot would have traumatic brain injury.
Yeah. In the head.
But they're dead.
Well, yeah, that's
So they're injured, but they're dead.
well, these are traumatic brain injury deaths.
Okay.
Okay, we're just talking about
All
how
right.
people die from
It
traumatic.
just sounds like cause of death, stop breathing. Like that happens every time someone dies too.
Yeah, but this is the death from traumatic brain injury causes.
Okay.
So
Got it.
Okay.
All right.
Falls is half.
Yeah.
Okay. Firearm. And they're saying if it's like you can get shot in the head lots of different ways.
Okay.
But the most common way is that you did it yourself.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Remember, if listeners, anyone has thoughts about suicide, you can always call or text 988. You do not need to talk. You can just text. Car crash or assault are the other common ways people get traumatic brain injury.
Ugh.
Depending on how severe the injury is, you could face health issues for a few days or the rest of your life. So a mild TBI is also a concussion. Okay, that's the same thing.
Okay.
And you might just be able to resume your normal activities, like in a few days or a couple weeks, right? Any person with a possible TBI should be seen by a healthcare professional and be assessed. So I'm going to go back in a time machine and tell my parents.
Yeah.
A child experiencing TBI may affect brain development. Okay, this can affect their thinking, disrupt their regulation, affect behavior for life. All right. Do you guys want to know how not to get one?
Yeah. Wear a
All right.
helmet.
Absolutely, yes. One of the number one reasons. Always wear a helmet when on a bike,
Yeah.
motorcycle, horseback, during contact sports, riding skates or a skateboard, and while playing baseball or softball.
They don't say anything about football, huh?
They didn't, but I think
I would think that would
during
be
contact sports.
Okay,
That-
right. I
yeah.
just think football. They probably are constantly getting. Yeah.
is a traumatic brain injury.
Yeah.
Okay. Do not drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Always wear a seatbelt.
Okay.
People still don't wear seatbelts. I know it sounds crazy,
It's crazy to me.
but they don't.
Your brothers.
I know. Don't fall. Just don't. Okay, guys. Just stop falling.
And if you do, don't land on your head.
Yeah. Land on your butt.
Yeah.
Break your pelvis. It's going to hurt. It's one of the most painful ways,
Ooh.
one of the most painful things that can happen to you. It's on the 5 most painful things list.
Yeah.
But man, better than a
brain-
TBI.
yeah.
So check your house for areas that are fall hazards, right? We talked about this in an episode on falls. I'm sure we did it once or twice.
Yeah.
Like slip, maybe 3 times. You don't want to have slippy rugs. You want to have those things under, get yourself the,
We do. We have those.
you have slippy rugs.
No, I mean, we have the
you
things under the rug.
Get yourself those non-slip sticky things. You can
Yes.
get them on Amazon, guys.
You can get them at Target.
Yeah.
They're like $3.
Yeah, don't shop on Amazon, jerks.
Yeah.
Why you got to give Steve Bezos more money?
Steve Bezos?
What? Jeff Bezos.
It's cousin
I got Steve Bannon and Jeff Bezos
Yeah.
mixed up. Guys, traumatic brain injury.
Steve Bezos probably needs a little bit of money.
He's probably Jeff's brother.
Yeah.
And he's only a millionaire. Poor guy.
Only got
Multi-millionaire.
one.
Yeah, so no slippy rugs. I don't know. What else is slippy in your house? Indoor slip and slide?
Well, your bathroom tile. Get little
Get the
bath
suctiony
mats.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, you mean in the shower? Yeah, that's
yes.
true too.
Yes.
Oh God, I'm not that old yet.
Well, I do. I have a non-slip mat in
You
mine.
do?
Yes. Both of our showers.
I don't think I've ever, because I'm using my core. So
From all the Pilates.
did you watch SNL
I
this
actually
weekend?
watched this
I
week,
haven't,
and
no.
Oh my
Is it the
God.
Kristen Wiig one?
Yes, they did a Pilates sketch, like a film thing, and I laughed so hard. It was really funny. I thought it was really,
well,
really
I can't
funny.
wait. I have not seen
A couple
it yet.
of the other sketches were actually really funny too.
Good. Keep your firearms unloaded and locked away. Not locked and loaded like my neighbor.
Oh God. And don't slip on your gun either.
No. Don't have your gun loaded and then do your indoor slip and slide
Right.
as like a fun activity for a birthday party.
Never.
Or just don't have a gun would be what I would suggest
Same.
at all.
Yeah.
Why you got to have a gun?
Right.
What happens though? You followed all of our good advice and you still get yourself a traumatic brain injury, you dumb shit.
You stupid fuck.
You dingbat cunt.
You fucking asshole.
Stupid 5-year-old jumping out of bed.
Here are a few signs you may have experienced a TMI. No, a TMI. That's what I have written down.
TBI.
A TMI.
Starting to
TMI.
wonder if the three of us have suffered a TBI before we came in here.
Yeah,
It's
because
made
none
us
of us
into
are making any
giggly-
sense.
We
Yeah.
all fell on the concrete before we
Yeah.
walked in the door. I mean, these are all going to be really obvious, but I'm not going to probably read all of them because there's so many. Loss of consciousness, headache, confusion, dizziness, fatigue, memory problems, trouble thinking, mood changes, personality changes, nausea, vomiting, agitation, seizures, change in sleep patterns.
That's day to
Danielle,
day for me.
change in
Change the
sleep,
sleep
patterns.
patterns. Oh, I lost a half hour. I must have a TBI.
Okay.
Is this one of those things where you like can get a TBI and then you speak fluent Italian or something?
I did not come across anything like that.
You know those things, right? You've heard about that. Or you suddenly speaking with an accent.
I've heard about this, but I don't think it's from a TBI. That might be like some other kind of brain situation where they're stimulating other parts of the brain, or
okay, yeah.
or a stroke, maybe. I don't know. That's interesting. But
I saw one of those videos where a white woman is suddenly speaking with a Chinese. I can't remember if it's Chinese.
oh,
or
I
Korean
think that's
accent.
racism.
It's not. I swear. I mean,
yeah, no, I don't know.
I think it's a real thing.
Yeah, no, I believe you. It sounds very
because it's
likely
not like
and familiar.
an exaggerated comedic accent. I mean, she really
Right.
sounds like she's a native Chinese
Yes.
speaker speaking English.
God, I wish I could have some part of my brain stimulated and I could be fluent in German without having to
No,
learn.
wouldn't that be great if you just get bopped on the head instead
Yes.
of having to do Duolingo?
Be so
That would be
wonderful.
awesome.
All right, traumatic
But what
brain.
if you start talking like the owl?
The owl.
The Duolingo owl.
The owl himself doesn't talk, I don't think.
My owl on my app on the
Wait,
front of
does
my
the owl
phone
talk? It's-
looks really sad. And
Oh,
I think,
no, 'cause
look,
did- why,
look,
did
he
you
looks
break
like
your
he's
streak?
dying.
Oh, did you break his streak?
I
Your
mean,
streak? Is
I
that why
started
he's dying?
I started a new streak, but he
I
still
wonder
looks.
why he looks so sad.
He looks like my face in the morning when I first wake up. Like his like he's got like 7 bags under his eyes. 500.
My guy's wide awake.
What if I open him? Well, yeah, he looks better when I click on him.
No, but even plain, my guys, see?
I think mine has a gravestone.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Mine has a TBI. It's just got a big bandage around his head.
All right. So your doctor probably wasn't there when the injury happened, right? I mean, that would be weird.
That would be weird.
So they're going to ask you or your family or friends questions about how it happened and if you were having any symptoms. Your doctor's going to want to know if you were unconscious after your injury and is going to ask you questions to evaluate your thought process, right?
Right.
So moderate to severe TBI cases are characterized by at least one of the following. My voice just almost got really sexy.
Yeah.
God, I wish it would.
Maybe that's the result of a TBI.
I wish it would stay like that and I could just do voiceover work with like sexy voice.
So much money.
Not going to happen. All right. Greater than 30 minutes, loss of consciousness. Greater than 24 hours, altered mental status.
Oof.
Greater than 24 hours, post-traumatic amnesia, or a score of less than 13 on the Glasgow Coma Scale. So it's one of those. It doesn't have to be all of those.
Okay.
Right? It has to be at least one. In such cases, internal bleeding and hypoxia can occur. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about the Glasgow Coma Scale, which I just mentioned.
Yeah.
It's the most widely used tool for measuring comas and decreases in consciousness. So even though it has the word coma in it,
Yeah.
it's actually used in the medical community to assess degrees of consciousness, okay?
Okay.
So what they're assessing is eye response, motor response, verbal response, and then they add those scores together. So, for example, like for your eyes, you'd get a score of 1 if your eyes don't open for any reason, and you'd get a score of 4 if you can open your eyes and keep them open.
Okay.
So here's how they would do it. Like for the traumatic brain injury, a score of 3 to 8 would be a severe traumatic brain injury. A 9 to 12 would be moderate. 13 to 15 would be like a concussion. It's mild.
Okay.
So like the higher the score, the better you're doing.
Yeah, it seems like a bad plan. Seems like it should have been the other way around.
Okay.
Like cancer is stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, but suddenly you're like, oh no, 1 is the worst.
Yeah.
I just think it's upside down.
Also hard if you have a traumatic brain injury.
Really hard to
kinda keep
follow.
track
If you,
of it.
yeah, it's like golf. Oh, I'm
Yes.
supposed to get a low score?
Or bowling high.
What?
Also, who's golfing and bowling? People who like balls, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really want to do either. Okay. Are we going to do, what do you guys think? We have to decide. We're either going to have a bowling league or golf.
Oh, bowling.
For sure bowling, right? Because you can have beer and pretzels.
Yeah, because bowling you can accidentally get a strike.
Yeah, you can accidentally be good at it.
I have no skill for golf whatsoever, and I don't feel the need to improve.
I don't think I've ever golfed except putt-putt, and I never want to.
Yeah, I
Sorry for our golf lovers.
no.
I just don't think I like the
Outside.
majority of the people that
Old white men who
play
are
golf.
rich and probably vote Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not do it.
I mean,
Okay.
Of course, there's exceptions, but
Oh, and if we're a bowling league, we can get matching satin jackets
Yes, jackets.
that have
what
like
the Golden
flames
Girls
on the
bowled.
back.
Yeah, how to survive.
And
And it's us as the pins and some of our guests.
Yes.
And everyone is knocked down except for us three. We're still standing.
And it's flames like in the background. I already like this idea.
At least just let's get the jackets.
I think
regardless
yeah.
of if we form a league.
Maybe we just don't bowl, but we do get the jackets.
Yeah, the survivors.
That's the name of our team.
Yeah.
Our league. I love it. I love it. Okay. So how is this treated, this traumatic brain injury that we all have? Okay. Well, you might get x-rays, a CT or MRI scan, of course, in addition to getting assessed. So it depends on how severe it is. Okay. So it can range from no treatment. If it's mild, they might just say like, go home and rest. Don't go to sleep. You know, that was always the thing with the concussion. You may need rehabilitation to regain losses like such as speech or the ability to walk.
Wow, yeah.
All right, here's the prognosis, guys. Okay, if your injury is mild, your prognosis is pretty good, okay? In most cases, the symptoms improve, like headaches and dizziness and irritability. For moderate head injuries, though, people don't fare as well, okay? 60% make a full recovery. 25% are left with some level of disability. 7 to 10% are left in a vegetative state or die. And the rest are left with severe disability. So that's about 5 to 7%.
Oh, boy.
Those are the moderate head injuries. Okay. Severe patients, not so great. Okay. 25 to 33% of these patients have positive outcomes. And about 33% of these patients do not survive. The remaining few remain in a persistently vegetative state.
Oh, God.
So,
don't you think that would be the worst?
Yeah.
That's the worst.
I mean,
Your poor family.
It's
no closure.
It's terrible.
Ugh.
Okay. So here's one drawback of the Glasgow Coma Scale.
Yeah.
So it is useful, but it's not good to measure emotional and cognitive problems. So you're not able to tell like about the neuropsychological difficulties, which is what happens to a lot of people who have head injuries. You know, like they just discovered recently the Maine mass shooter had a significant head injury, like from his time in, he wasn't in combat, but he was in training, or his assignment was at a field where they exploded
shells.
What are those called that you throw?
IEDs.
Grenades. Thank you. Grenades. And that's the noise of that over years and years and years had injured his brain. So head injuries, one of the other results is aggression in a lot of patients with head injuries. And there is a correlation between crime and head injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So I'm going to talk about.
Is that why so many football players, not so many, but there have been several cases
Yes.
of football players
CTE.
like, killing people. And I mean, I knew about the suicide.
and abuse,
but
yeah.
The abuse and like the one guy just like shot his wife or not just. But
Aaron Hernandez is
Yes,
is
that's what I was thinking of.
case of who he murdered, I think, a couple other
Yeah.
players, and then he committed suicide in jail.
Yeah.
And they determined he had like the worst case of CTE they'd ever seen. But it can't be determined until the person's
Right.
dead when they look at the brain.
Right.
So Psychology Today did a study, and they said of people with TBI, 75% of the participants said they felt like a different person after their brain injury, okay? So the damage to the prefrontal cortex is what's responsible for managing behaviors and regulating emotions, and that's been linked to impulsive, inappropriate, and even criminal behavior. And that's where we get into this CTE in young athletes. A neuropathologist named Anne McKee, she does research on CTE, and she said in a Boston Globe interview that whether or not that's because they're playing more aggressively or if they're starting at younger ages, we don't know. We are seeing ravages of this disease. And she did talk about Aaron Hernandez. He murdered 2 of his teammates, as we just said. And she said they saw the most severe case of CTE ever seen in a person of his age. Many of his friends recalled that he had become extremely impulsive in the last few years of his life. And as I had said earlier, many people in the prison system have had brain injuries. And if,
Is there anything you can do?
well, they say if they can stop the damage, at the outset, they can reduce the number of people in the prison system. So
No, I meant if okay, I know that in most cases you wouldn't know if you have CTE because, or can you can't tell until after you've died, but if you are a football player or have an accident and then your behavior starts changing radically, is there anything you can do? Is there medication you can take?
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. I do know that with brain injuries, they can begin treatment if they find the brain injury earlier. A lot of brain injuries are missed. What's happening is when an injured person is examined, often the visibly injured area is what's getting the attention.
Yeah.
So it's like a broken arm or an injured neck, but the brain injury is often missed. Even on an MRI, a person's often told everything is normal and that their symptoms are psychological.
Oh, okay.
Because a standard MRI often misses brain injuries that would show up on a functional MRI or something called diffuser tension imaging. But those are very expensive and they're not available everywhere. That's why it's higher in rural areas because these machines don't often exist in the rural areas, or people don't have insurance, or people aren't taken in to be assessed. So people are often having these brain injuries. And they're missed.
Like that woman with the bull whose husband was like, "You're good."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So one thing that could happen that would make things better is people have access to the better equipment. Brain injuries are caught earlier.
Yeah.
And we could make contact sports safer.
Sure.
But because it's so much money is being made off these athletes, and they're primarily black and brown.
Yeah.
People don't care, right? They care more about the sport than they care about the people who are affected.
100%.
And these guys who go into these professional sports, they're changing the lives of their entire families financially forever.
Yeah.
So they're like, it's worth it. But they're giving up their lives.
Yeah.
Often.
I'm
So
sure it's also the substandard healthcare we have in this country where it's quantity, not quality. They just want in and out, get out. You got 5 minutes with your doctor.
well, yeah, we have a broken system.
Yeah, it's.
Would you guys like to hear some stories?
Yes, but before we do that,
Yes.
I don't want to breeze over the fact that Garen said he may have had one as well. So what is your
Oh,
situation?
when I was a kid, I used to go to, I think it was called, I don't remember what it was called. It was one of those after school places where your parents dropped you off and you, the professional babysitters, basically.
Like daycare kind of,
Yes,
aftercare.
Yeah, like Children's Place or something. That
Okay.
might be the clothes place.
Children's Place is a clothes
But
place.
it's something like that.
Maybe they just let you roam around a clothing store.
Was it,
instead.
maybe it was Children of God?
Was it up with people?
No. What was it called? It doesn't matter. But I was on a tire swing, and it was like the tire was like flat, and I was riding on it, and some other kid was pushing me, and I slammed my head into one of the wooden legs that was holding it
Louise.
up. And they didn't call my mom.
No.
I blacked out. I don't know how long. I
Oh
don't
my
remember.
God.
I blacked out. When my mom picked me up later, I guess I told her what happened, then I started throwing up.
Uh-oh.
And they took me to my doctor. And anyway, long story short, I ended up in the emergency room.
That's good, at
the
least.
hospital.
You got...
I guess I started freaking out at some point. I just had a complete, I went nuts. I was like screaming and crying and whatever. And then I woke up the next day in the hospital.
Uh-huh.
And that's all I know. That's all I remember. I don't remember how long that took. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was 1 day or 2 days. I don't
Yeah.
even know that. I remember sitting in my car, my mom's car, and then throwing up. And then that's kind of it. And then I remember waking up the next day. Mainly because my dad had given me some kind of a crystal thing. He had I think some girlfriend of his gave him a crystal that you hang on your thing. And I was like, oh, that was really cool. And he gave me one. And I remember that in the hospital.
So
looking at
nothing
it.
was wrong, exactly.
Well, you don't know maybe, right?
You don't know. This was 90s, like early 90s. I don't even know if they used those words in the 90s for brain injuries like that. I'm sure they did, but
I think the word concussion existed.
I had a concussion. I did have a concussion
Yeah.
for sure. I think that's why I started throwing up. But it was like all day that I had gotten hurt, and they never called my mom, or at least a few hours.
What I got from this story, Chris, is that Garen's mom cared more about him than your mom
Yep.
cared about you.
I get it.
She took him to the doctor,
Yeah.
which is what you're supposed to do.
Thanks for putting me in my place, Garen.
Sorry.
But maybe your mom didn't know.
I mean,
Did she?
it's very possible that we just never even told an
Yeah,
adult.
you didn't even think.
And It seems like my cousin would have ran and told an adult, but I could ask an adult that still exists and is still alive, and I would be surprised if they remembered.
Right. Okay.
I don't think either one of them remember much about my childhood.
I'm going to ask my mom if she has any more details about that.
I know that Danielle did not have a head injury when she was a child because she was the most loved of the three of us.
Oh, of the three of us.
Yes.
Yes. I thought you meant of me and my brother, and I was like, I don't know.
Danielle's mom was the first helicopter mom.
She 100% was. I was dropped on my coccyx, I guess,
Okay.
when I was in high school. But
As a dancer.
yeah, as a dancer.
Who dropped you?
This really gorgeous adult male.
Well, I think you should find him on Facebook.
I don't even remember.
Tell him, thank you for the current back pain.
what context was. Yeah, maybe it could be from that, actually. Anyway, you have stories to tell.
I do. I have a really fascinating story that totally fits, and then another one that's just insane that I have to tell you because I can't not tell you. Okay, so here we go. Munira Abdullah suffered a severe brain injury in a car crash in the United Arab Emirates in 1991 when she was 32. For years, there were no signs she would ever wake up.
Oh, my God.
But in 2017, she was transferred to Germany and treated with physical therapies and drugs. Then last year, started to show signs of responsiveness.
What, 92?
Exactly.
Okay.
I never gave up on her because I always had a feeling that one day she will wake up, her son Omar Waber told the national newspaper. He was just 4 when a school bus plowed into their car in the city of Al Ain as his mother hugged him to protect him. Mr. Waber only suffered minor wounds, but his mother had a brain injury that was left untreated for hours. She was eventually taken to hospital, then transferred to London for specialist treatment. Doctors declared her to be in a minimally conscious state, similar to a coma, but receptive to pain. Oh, thanks for the worst case scenario.
Oh, my God.
Right?
I also wonder if that means, the age-old question, like when you're in well, I guess people could just answer that. But, like, could she also hear what was going on and stuff? Who knows? Okay.
I don't think it says. Ms. Abdallah was then sent to the UAE, where for years she was fed through a tube and provided with physiotherapy to stop her muscles deteriorating. In 2017, Mohammed bin Zayed, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, offered to pay for specialist treatment in Germany, Mr. Wabar said.
Wow.
There, doctors prioritized physical therapies and gave her drugs to improve her wakefulness and sleeping patterns. Our primary goal was to grant her fragile consciousness the opportunity to develop and prosper within a healthy body, just like a delicate plant, which needs good soil to grow. Dr. Ahmed Rail, a neurology specialist who treated Ms. Abdullah, told the UAE-based newspaper. Mr. Waber said the treatment appeared to make his mother more responsive, and a year later, in June 2018, a row in her hospital room caused her a shock. So I guess a fight kind of broke out. She was making strange sounds, and I kept calling the doctors to examine her. They said everything was normal. Then 3 days later, I woke up to the sound of someone calling my name. It was her. She was calling my name. I was flying with joy. For years, I have dreamt of this moment, and my name was the first word she said.
Whoa.
Ms. Abdullah has continued to become more alert and is now able to hold a conversation, recite prayers, and tell people when she was in pain. She's now back in Abu Dhabi with her family, where she continues to receive treatment. The reason I shared her story is to tell people not to lose hope on their loved ones. Don't consider them dead when they are in such a state, Mr. Wabar said. All those years, the doctors told me she was a hopeless case, and there was no point of the treatment I was seeking for her. But whenever in doubt, I put myself in her place and did whatever I could to improve her condition. Isn't that crazy? 28 years.
Okay, so imagine you have a 4-year-old.
Okay.
And then you wake up and you have a 32-year-old.
Right? And she she said his name. So
that's fucking crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
That's crazy.
It's nuts.
I wonder what that means, though. Like, is she upright? Can she walk? Like,
they didn't say. I mean, they just said she continues to improve.
That's wild.
Okay, so I'm going to top it.
All right.
In a little bit. So that story led me to this one. And I was like, all right, I have to share this. It's not exactly related to our topic, but I think it still is. Okay. Ebony Stevenson, 18, from Oldham, Greater Manchester, was rushed to hospital on 2 December after she had a number of seizures and had to be put into an induced coma. So brain-related. Despite not having... I hate when it does this. Okay. Despite not having a visible bump or having missed her period, clinicians said Miss Stevenson was pregnant. Her seizures were being caused by preeclampsia, a pregnancy complication usually picked up at antenatal checks, which we call prenatal checks, and needed an emergency cesarean. Her daughter Elodie was born on Monday, 3 December, but Miss Stevenson only met her 3 days later when she was brought out of her coma. Waking up from a coma to be told I had been pregnant and had given birth to a baby girl was overwhelming to say the least, she said. Remember, she's a teenager. She's 18.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. She was only in the coma for 3 days?
Yeah.
So she was like 8 months pregnant?
Yes.
Or 9 months pregnant when she... What?
Yeah. So listen.
And she didn't know?
Right.
And she had her period the whole time?
Yes.
No, none of this is true.
Keep listening.
Okay.
I'm not done.
Was it during an eclipse?
Meeting my baby was so surreal. It felt like an out-of-body experience. The sports physiotherapy student has a rare condition affecting around 1 in 3,000 women called uterus didelphes. I might not be saying that right. Meaning she was born with 2 uteruses.
Oh, okay. I have heard of that.
This is thought to explain why her pregnancy was hidden and she was able to continue having periods despite the developing fetus in her other uterus. It also makes Elodie's birth particularly improbable as only 1 uterus was connected to an ovary by a fallopian tube, which would in theory lower her chances of conceiving. I worried I wouldn't bond with my daughter because I had no time to get my head around her arrival, but I think she's amazing, Miss Stevenson said. It sounds awful now, but I asked them to take her away as I was so confused and sure they'd made a mistake, she said, recalling the first moments after she regained consciousness. But my mom explained it all to me while the nurses were there, and they gave my little girl back to me to hold properly for the first time. Elodie was born 7 pounds, 10 ounces.
Wow.
And from her weight, doctors believe she was carried to full term without her mother realizing, perhaps because one of Miss Stevenson's uteruses was closer to her back. The doctors said that
she was pregnant in her back?
She was pregnant in her fucking back.
So is that from anal sex?
Yeah, she did butt sex and had a butt baby.
And had a butt baby, okay.
The doctor said that Elodie was a miracle baby.
But did she have a bulge coming out of her back? I mean, wouldn't she still have some sort of bump?
Maybe she was like, gosh, I've been really eating burritos lately. But
on my back.
But like when you're that young too, like you can really just gain not that much weight and like...
You mean if you're pregnant?
Yeah. And like you don't get that big with a first baby a lot of the times. You just don't really get...
Okay. If you're a teenager.
I guess. I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense, but okay.
I don't know, Danielle. I really...
All right.
The doctor said that Elodie was a miracle baby, as women with her condition often struggle to conceive or carry full term. Ebony's mother, Sherry Stevenson, said. Imagine, like, though, you go into a coma and you come out and you have a baby.
No, that's the worst. And how old was she? I know she was a teenager.
18. Like a child, really.
Baby. Oh, my God. And when was this?
This was, let me look at the date.
I want to check back with
article. 2019.
Okay.
So now she has a 5-year-old.
And I have heard of like 2 vaginas, 2 uteruses, 2. Yeah. So only one fallopian tube went to one and one went to the... No, because it said only one of them was able to conceive.
One of them... Yes, it said one... Let me just go back to there.
One of the uteruses was able to...
There's 8,000 ads. I have to...
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, but yes, one fallopian tube with one egg.
That's bananas.
I know. It's so wild.
I wonder if she has 2 holes.
I don't think so.
Well, some people do,
yeah.
I think. Yeah. That's crazy.
One uterus was connected to an ovary by a fallopian tube.
And how did she get into the coma?
She had started having seizures that didn't stop. She had multiple seizures, so they put her in a coma to protect her.
Oh, and were the seizures from being pregnant?
They were from preeclampsia, pregnancy complication.
Right.
But it wasn't picked up that she had preeclampsia because she wasn't going to prenatal checks because she didn't think she was pregnant.
Right. Okay, that's freaking wild. That's a good story.
That's so crazy. It's so crazy.
That really beats my Syria story from last week.
It's hard to... Syria is full of not great stories, really fun. Sadly. All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay, well, we'll be right back after this.
Sure we will.
Fall is here, and if you want to sleep in the coziest bed imaginable, you have to start with Boll & Branch's best-selling 100% organic cotton sheets. You'll spend every night wrapped in buttery, breathable softness and feel your sheets get even softer with every wash. Discover the difference with Boll & Branch's 30-night guarantee. Plus, get 15% off and free shipping on your first set of sheets. Visit bowlandbranch.com and use code WONDERY15. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
Canva presents the killer of productivity. It was an ordinary workday until...
Oh no, this meeting. It could have been an email.
Run. Canva had a creative solve.
Get email. I'll just put the info the team needs in a Canva doc, and I'll make it visual with images, charts, and graphics.
Bring productivity killers to justice with creativity. Love your work at canva.com.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. How's your head?
Feels totally healed.
Karen, head?
Never had any complaints before.
Okay.
Ooh.
Good.
I just got it.
He was trying to make a sexy joke.
I think he did.
That's a Drag Race or a RuPaul-ism. And maybe, no, that's not, she says it, but it's not hers.
You know whose it is?
I don't remember.
Caffeine mismanagement.
Oh, yes.
Could be hot cottage cheese.
Mismanagement.
That's so gross.
I know.
It's Elvira. That's who it is. Elvira.
That's
said
her
that.
joke?
Yeah. She said it in Elvira's, her first movie. She said, never had any complaints before when they asked her because she hit her head.
I only think of her as a person who hosts interstitial between movies.
She has a pretty funny movie.
Well, I don't know, Garen.
It's pretty
I'm
funny.
not sure if I trust your judgment because you
It's pretty funny.
you like
Clue.
chose Blue Steel over. I don't remember, but I was like, wait, you chose Blue Steel. You chose to watch Blue Steel when you could have watched something
No, we were
else.
supposed to watch something for the show.
Oh yeah, and he was
and
like, oh, I watched Blue Steel.
Yeah, instead, yeah.
Anyway,
All right. Well,
You know what?
Pretty guilty for choosing a Jamie Lee Curtis.
you're right. She's amazing. I do love Jamie Lee Curtis, and I also love bringing in our guests.
Yes.
On the first half of the show, we
Yes.
talked about how to survive a traumatic brain injury.
Right.
Now we're going to talk about how to survive family trauma with Eve Sturges. If you don't know Eve Sturges, you know what? If you don't know how to say Eve Sturges' name,
you got problems.
you might have a traumatic brain
You
injury.
might.
She hosts Everything Relative. God, can I ever get through an
Christine!
intro?
Jesus, I was so proud of you because you did the part that you always get scared about. I don't know if you get scared. I'm putting that. The look in your eyes is always that you seem scared.
Deer in headlights?
Yes, to make the our little segue.
Yes.
So you got through it
I
all. I
did.
was so
I
proud
did
of
it.
you. And
Yeah.
then you can't say our lovely guest's name, which
I'm
is
sorry.
Eve Sturges.
I'm sorry, Eve.
I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
I don't know.
Sturgis, like where they have that rally, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In one of the Dakotas.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure my brother has been there on a Harley multiple times.
Yes.
Everything's Relative, the podcast, and you can find it on all platforms. Like and subscribe. I mean, come on, guys.
And
Don't blame me.
what is the podcast about, Eve?
Family trauma. It's not all about trauma. It is it's about people. I interview people, meet with people, hang out with people that have had surprising DNA test results.
Okay.
Oh.
Basically, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I got an extra family. Or,
I didn't know I had a brother.
Exactly. But we're talking about like siblings, other families, dads.
Secret families.
Big surprises. Not necessarily the surprises like we thought we were 50% Irish and it turns out we're 35% Irish.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm meeting with people who really have their worlds like turned upside down.
And it's probably more common than people think.
It is so much more common than you think, Christine. You have no idea.
and it's all because
Or you might have an idea.
I might have a little idea.
all these DNA testing sites are making that
Right.
become more to light, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's all because of direct-to-consumer DNA tests. And therefore it's like we're kind of in this like cultural phenomenon right now because they didn't exist.
Yeah.
And then eventually it seems like the way we're going is that everybody's DNA will be everywhere. So there will
Yes.
be no secrets
Yes.
to be exposed. They'll all be out there. So
Right.
we're in this like funny time where this wave is coming. So everybody
It's really fascinating. Can I share something I'm a little scared about with the DNA?
Yeah,
I did it. I mean, mine's out there, guys. There's no holding it back. I'm afraid that in a future world, I'm going to be dead.
Yeah.
They're going to take my DNA. They're going to make a new me, and I'm going to be a slave on a like weird planet where I just have to dig on Mars.
This is what is now keeping you up at night? This is
No. Just occasionally. I'm like, what if they'd make my DNA like it's like the Matrix where it's like they just create new versions of us with our DNA to use us as like
you, Christine, will experience this because it will be your DNA. You will be brought back to life.
A version of me, I guess.
Yeah, but with all of your physical ailments, I don't think they're going to pick you. I think you're okay.
Oh, right. They're going to look at my DNA and go, no.
Oh, she's got.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
They're not going to want me.
not. I don't know about your physical
with
ailments,
your seizures and your bad back
as a worker,
mental illness stuff.
Yeah,
they're going to go X.
Yeah, I think they're either not going to resurrect you or they're going to resurrect you and give you some sort of cushy
I
job.
could just do sewing.
Yeah, you'll just be like a. Yeah,
we still need someone to read the books.
Yes, that'll be you.
That could be you.
They don't need someone to read the books.
Who's minding the cats?
Oh, I would love that
there
job.
There you go. That's you. Don't worry about it.
The worst thing I have to do is scoop litter.
Yeah.
That sucks, though.
It does. I hate that part. You're right. You guys, thank you for...
You're welcome.
You know what? Is it assuaged my fear?
Yes.
Am I saying it right?
You are.
It's a word I see in books.
Mayo. Every time she has to say Mayo Clinic, she goes, "Is it Mayo or Why do you say Mawa?"
I always I don't even know how. It's like my dad's trying to say Cozumel, but I would love to know
your story. Yeah,
the backstory that's important to know is that I was raised by a married mom and dad with siblings, and it was, for all intents and purposes, extremely normal and extremely Christian.
Okay.
And there was some, run with that, whatever it was. Like over the years, there was some Jesus camps.
Okay.
There was some evangelism. There was speaking in tongues. Wow. Go with it.
And what state are we in?
California.
Oh, okay.
The conservative.
What part of California?
Northern California.
Northern California. So speaking in tongues. Tell me which branch of Christianity that is.
So I don't have a straight answer.
Okay.
I
it's
honestly,
Pentecostal.
We're not Pentecostal in what you are probably imagining as Pentecostal at this time. And when I have said before, well, my parents were fundamental Christians, they don't like that. They get very...
Your parents do?
Yeah, my parents get very defensive.
Okay.
And then
they don't think of themselves that way.
They don't think of themselves that way. But when I say that to friends, they say, oh, so you didn't homeschool. And I'm like, oh, yes, we homeschool.
So,
and they say, oh, you didn't speak in tongues. So I'm like, yes, there was speaking in tongues. You didn't go to Jesus camp. 100% I went to Jesus camp.
Funny that your parents are like, but we draw the line at being called fundamentalists.
Yeah, they're like, but that's,
Okay.
So all of that is important to know. And part of my childhood and adolescence, all of being raised by them. And I guess I talk about it as a family myth or the family history. And the focus of a lot was purity culture.
Right.
Purity culture,
Okay.
virginity culture.
Yes.
Went to one of those conferences in Sacramento at a stadium where everybody sang a lot and some incredibly magnetic speaker talked and then we all signed contracts about being virgins until marriage. And my parents had done that. They had saved themselves to marriage.
And what age do you do this? I'm very fascinated by this.
I was 14.
Okay. And is everybody there 14 and it's a thing you all do together?
It seems like it.
Okay.
And I honestly barely remember it, but
Okay.
I know that I did do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that people had sex outside of marriage.
Right.
Right.
Until I was 14. And
this
we
is
were on
brought
a
up.
cruise, which was a different story. But I was this is how we are.
This is normal.
This is totally,
This is what
my
everybody
world-
does.
Yeah, you would never. It happens, but you would never.
And so my next question, because this is so fascinating to me, because everybody's normal is their normal and it's so different. When you grew up, did you guys watch television?
We watched television for a few years, and then my parents decided they couldn't control the content, so we removed the television.
Because you'd find out if you were we watched, Boy Meets World, or I don't even know.
Yeah.
You would know that you'd find stuff out.
Right.
You'd find out this is what it is to be a normal teenager.
Yeah, no.
Or
No.
I'm thinking of shows you would have watched because we're different age groups, but you'd see these things in the culture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
So what happened on
And
the cruise?
but even if I saw things I'm trying to think of John, the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
John
movies.
Hughes.
Thank you. I was going to say John Waters, and I was like, that is really
that is
really off
parents would
base.
say no on that for
really
sure.
off base. Even if I came across those movies at slumber parties or with friends, I don't think I understood that fading to black meant that the making out was turning into sex.
You were just they're kissing.
Yeah, I was like, you can totally kiss all night long in your bra and underwear.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
that's as far as
like,
it goes, though.
Yeah, like why would you? Why would you go for like?
Yeah.
So what? I'm sorry. What happened at the cruise?
Okay, so the cruise. So on the cruise, it was a Disney red boat cruise.
Okay.
You do 3 nights, 4 days in the Bahamas, and then you do 3 days, 4 nights or something at Disney World. My grandma took the whole family.
Whoa.
And it was pretty fun. But one of the nights, there would like be all these events in the night, and one night was like they were doing a live newlywed show, which I'd never seen,
and making whoopee.
Yes, so they brought on a couple that was there for their like 70th wedding anniversary, all the way, and then couples that had been married, 30 years, 40 years, whatever, all the way down to a couple that was honeymooning.
Okay.
And it was it was the funniest thing I had ever seen in my life.
You'd also seen nothing.
Yes.
Nothing, right? I was like,
You had no entertainment.
I was like, it was so funny. And the last question is, where is the craziest place you've ever made whoopee? And I, could not believe that question.
Yeah.
Could not believe that I was like
You understood
sitting.
You
what
understood what they
meant?
meant.
Yeah, yes, I knew what it meant. And plus the crowd, like hooted and hollered.
You got it.
Context clues.
Yes.
But I thought to myself, well, this is a really lame question for the honeymooners because the only place they've done it is at the cabin on this boat.
Right.
But there's no other place for them to have done it. Like, that's
yeah.
really dumb by the time we get to them.
Right.
Like,
Because they just got married.
Yeah, the old people, it was
yeah.
hilarious. Everybody had these funny stories about who could remember what. And then it got to them and I was like, duh.
Yeah.
It's going to be, and instead, the new husband said, on the roof of her sorority house.
Oh.
And it blew my mind. And what blew my mind more was that the room hooted and hollered instead of gasping,
Like being
offended.
horrified.
Yeah, like horrified and offended. Like I like probably broke into a sweat. Like,
Yeah.
How
on
did
there.
your parents
You were worried
react?
about them getting in trouble.
They probably laughed along with
Yeah.
it. I don't think, and I mean I know them now. Still, I know that they didn't know how impactful that message was on
Right.
us. Like I think they didn't. They probably laughed along with it, not realizing that I would.
That shook you.
Yeah. Fast forward, I am living my regular life in Los Angeles. I've been married about a year. We have a baby. I have my other daughter from a previous relationship. I'm a therapist. Like, things are so mundane, and there's nothing more to like look forward to or dread. Like
Yeah.
like a
all
really
the big things have happened.
yeah, it's just like, okay, I guess like in a good way, in like a great, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Can we assume that you're no longer in the fundamentalist faith?
You can assume that,
Or
sure.
do you want to tell us? We just
No. It's also a long and complicated story, but it started to fade in our family in general.
Okay.
Like in my teen years, and then and it's never been that
That's
exciting
interesting.
again. It's
Okay.
never been that exciting again. But my parents still, have kind of like a renewed, strengthened faith in the past maybe decade or so, and
They're
my
born
brother
again,
has
born again.
sort of stayed in that
Interesting.
realm. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you're in Los Angeles.
So I'm in Los Angeles, and my husband sends me a screenshot. And the screenshot is a message from Facebook that says, hi, Kaylin. That's my husband's name, Kaylin. Hi, Kaylin. I need to talk to you about your wife.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Could you please call me? Here's a phone number. And then there was like a couple sentences that were just like autobiographical information about me that no one would know. It was like, I used to know her parents. I have information she needs to have. And then it was like, here's proof that like I know them.
Okay.
And it was legit. So I was like, call him.
Yeah.
Call him. And the man, like, I'm close with my parents. They've always been very like verbal about their life and their history and their families, and they were high school sweethearts. So everybody knows the same people from the same suburb. And,
Yes.
I had never heard this man's name, and I was like, that makes zero sense. Anything and everything came into mind as
Right.
like what
Yes.
it could be. It could be something. It could be so mundane.
You're just spinning out.
Yeah, it could be totally mundane and
Yes.
like nothing. And like, I want you to know your parents voted for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dukakis.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
your mom voted for Nader. Like something,
Yeah.
something, or something really extreme. And so my husband said, I'm going to come pick you up from work. He's like, everything is fine. I've got the the babysitter is handled. So he came and got me, and I got in the car, and he was like, and he gave this like very sweet sort of like, I'm going to support you no matter what speech. And I was like, what is going on?
Out with it.
Like, what? And he goes, so this man, the first thing he said was, oh, I'm so glad you called. Thank you so much. And hey, before I get into it, I want to let you know, we love that Eve met you. And we love that you guys, that you're such a great stepdad. And you just seem like we love we're so excited about your career and where it's going. And in like one area of my husband's life, sort of like crazy people, I should say mentally ill people, do call him, and so he was
mean as part of his career. Like people he deals with in his career?
He works with somebody who like people want to be related. They call and they'll say like, I'm the long lost daughter of your boss.
He works for a famous person.
Yeah. So
got it.
Or he did. So he just was kind of like, okay, is this one of these? And he was like, how can I help you?
Right.
What's going on? And he gave this story about having an affair with my mother and believing that he's my real dad.
Whoa.
Okay. When she's pretty young.
Yeah.
Because your mom and dad are high school sweethearts.
Yeah, they're high school sweethearts. So at the time I said like, okay, well, let's do a DNA test because that will just solve.
Yeah,
that'll
clear this up.
And then I don't even have to bother my parents about it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it all made sense.
Oh.
In this like otherworldly, deep down subconscious way.
Okay. For you.
Yeah.
A feeling
like
you had.
sort of when I say otherworldly, I think I mean like existential. It made sense. I don't look like my family as much. That's always been a discussion.
Oh.
But not so dramatically that it was laughable.
Okay.
Like not like there are laughable
they're
examples,
not black
but
or something.
No. And it's more about, like they're a very blonde and fair looking family. The other way that it made sense, is about the Christianity. So we Googled his name.
Okay.
That is, we Googled his name, and he came up right away, all over Google.
Okay.
And has been very active in like fundamentalist Christianity.
Oh.
In a like B-level televangelist way.
Okay.
And he's written some books, and he a lot of his time was spent with like the Reagan presidency. So like, he was in Washington D.C. My parents were in Washington D.C.
Okay.
So
it fits.
Yeah, there were just things that were like kind of quickly falling together.
You talked to the guy?
No. Just my husband did. He called him back.
It seems so weird that he would contact your husband and not you. Or is that part of the Christianity weirdness?
So I think that's part of the weirdness. And
I'm going to talk to the man.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to her husband.
Yeah, he'll know if this is right.
Is the
this
man.
Is the right thing to do or
Yeah.
not. And he said that one, he thought I would have already figured it out by now. And he'd been waiting my whole life.
You would know who your dad is.
Why would you have figured that out? That makes no sense.
I have no clue.
She would feel my strong genes in her.
He was probably praying for it.
Yeah, you felt his prayers, right?
Yeah, and then he said the second thing was that maybe I did already know, and I wanted nothing to do with it.
Oh.
And so if I didn't want to know that he had called, if anybody, my husband would know and could just be like, yeah, she doesn't want
you had already figured it out, but you didn't want to have contact with him.
Yeah,
and
like my husband.
He didn't want to encroach on your privacy.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty respectful too.
Yeah,
in a way.
it was like this funny.
Okay, it's a weird thing to have to call someone and be like, I think I'm your dad.
Yes, the test came back. You are the father.
Congratulations. You have a bouncing adult woman.
And he was
daughter.
he was very thrilled. And to answer the question we didn't ask, but was that was present about why he knew all about my husband is because him and his 6 children had been following us like online.
Okay.
This whole time. Like
so he had 6 children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Already.
What do you mean follow?
After me.
Okay.
What do you mean following you online?
So, well, like I'm a writer, so I have
Okay.
a lot of things up online, like
Okay.
on websites, and my name has always just been my name. It's very Googleable.
Okay.
And I had a blog, and
so he was.
So you were present online.
yeah,
He could
I mean,
find you.
yeah, low
but he
key
also
present.
told his children.
So they're adults, and they all knew about it, and they said they've always known about it.
That's interesting. Okay.
I mean, it just like
And none of them
reached out.
well,
That's wild.
one did in 2015. He reached out on Facebook, and it was so vague and cryptic that I assumed it was just a dude hitting
like
on me,
flirting.
It was like, "Hey, we have a lot in common. You should call me.
Well,
I want to talk to you," or something. Like
Yeah. You're like,
it was something.
pass.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, delete.
Yeah.
So later he was like, "Well, I contacted you. Like, it's crazy because I would have told you. You could have known in 2015."
You're like, you just seemed like every other dude contacting me on Facebook.
So and so I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he sent me a screenshot of the message. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, don't even remember that."
did he understand why maybe that wasn't the best way to express that he was your brother?
He probably agonized over that message. Too.
Yeah, trying to make
sound
it
like it.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, you need ahead of time.
retyped it
Yeah.
how many times? This has to be casual.
I
it
think
has to
sometimes
be-
guys don't know about how they. It's like the guy that's walking too close behind you, and you're
Right.
like, "Do you know what this feels like for a woman?
Yeah.
Stop doing that."
Yeah, and he's a lot younger. Like
Yeah.
there are a lot. Some of the kids are way younger than me.
Yeah.
So, and like in 2015, he would have been 3 years even young. I don't know. He's like 19. When
Yeah,
he
he wouldn't
reached
have
out.
thought
like
that
I
would
don't
come across as
okay.
probably flirty.
Yeah, he was like, I got this.
Yeah.
So they find out who your dad is, your husband is, and they contact him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you know that he's your dad, and you tell him. At this point, are you contacting him, or is just your husband saying?
My husband just contacts him like on speakerphone and is like, "Hey, like we're here. The tests are affirmative. You are the father.
Yeah.
But we need a minute. Like Eve really needs
Sure,
a minute. She just
yeah.
needs a minute, and so she will reach out when she's ready." And he was like, of course, I completely understand. And wow, this is so wonderful. I've been praying for this. And so then I sort of like had to pivot to focus on my parents.
Yeah.
And I ended up, it triggered a lot of fear is sort of in the way that when he first called or he first contacted my husband and my brain thought of like everything that could happen. I started to feel that way about my parents, that every possibility was possible.
Right.
And also, if this wasn't true, like if the man that raised me is not my dad, if that wasn't true, maybe nothing is true.
Sure.
Like it expands in this way that was incredibly overwhelming.
What's my family even like?
Yeah, like
who am I even related
yeah,
to?
what about my brother and sister? Like
Right.
what about
Yes.
who knows? Like
Yes.
what about
Because that's foundational. Your
Right.
parents are kind of the biggest thing. So if you
It's-
find out one of them isn't your parent, that's sort of life shaking.
Yeah. It was, and then thinking about my cousins. So they're not my cousins, like on that cruise that my grandma took
Yes.
us on when I was
Yes.
14. Like,
Yeah, it shakes everything. I would say.
I was just with people.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not my cousins.
Yes, but
Right.
it does sort of affirm like what family means.
Right.
and
Yeah. I mean, it just
It doesn't
and-
necessarily mean DNA.
right. I mean, and that becomes such a fundamental like shake up in it. Is this like doesn't it matter?
I can imagine.
And so I started to be really, really, really stressed out about my mom. So I ended up, and what would happen, like when I
Yeah.
confronted her.
Sure.
And she and I have had a long or as long as I've been alive, sort of hot and cold, sometimes fraught relationship.
Wait, what do you mean you've had a fraught?
With my mom
I
as a
can't- you
as a
can't-
teenage girl. As a teenage girl.
We don't know anything about it.
nope.
Don't know. Understand.
When I wanted to shave my legs, she said that would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
So it was just, and the number one thing that is the biggest source of tension is that I had a baby, unmarried,
Right.
Oh my God.
college.
Yeah.
And so I had been like, they've always been incredibly supportive. I never ever want to misrepresent that.
Yeah.
But I had blown it.
You
did
blown
not.
it.
You did
I
not
did-
keep your contract.
I did
with
not
God,
keep my
like-
contract.
But guess
you
what?
said you were going to.
Now you had something on her.
Right.
She might have done something a little bit worse. Hey, Mom, I got something on you.
Yeah, I know. I should have talked to you sooner.
Now we can hold this over her head.
Yeah. So I was like mostly shocked about that. Just like,
Yeah.
after all those years of how much
such hypocrisy,
pressure. Yeah. And hypocrisy. And also just like wild misrepresentation.
It's like the cruise ship all over again, but personal.
Totally.
Now it's personal.
Like how life works and how. And they didn't know they were presenting themselves as perfect and holier than thou, But
we think our parents when we're young are perfect in a way. Well, I didn't, but like
I was just saying I didn't either.
But like there is that idea that when you're little, parents are sort of superheroes, and your parents weren't just that. They were also like, we are holier than God is all perfect.
We could do this. Like we can. It's probably easy. I called my aunt, who is my mom's sister, who I thought if anybody knows, she'll know. So I called her. She had no idea. So I wrote a letter to my mom.
Okay.
I mailed it to my aunt. My aunt delivered it to my mom.
And why did you do it that way?
Because I didn't want my mom to be alone.
Oh, that was smart.
But I didn't want to be the one that was with her.
Gotcha.
And part of that was because I knew I'm there's some real deep, like codependent, people-pleasing, good girl issues with me.
I've got that too.
And I knew that whatever she asked for, I would agree to. That like she was, I
if
knew
she said, "Don't tell your father,"
I'd be like, okay. Like, I'd be like, okay. And I knew that, I'm pretty sure she was going to be incredibly devastated on one way or another.
What a healthy way to do it.
And I just was like, I'll just agree to anything. I don't want to see her in that much pain. Like, I just can't. And I knew that I would promise anything. So I had my aunt do it. And so they did it. And it turns out that they did know. My dad knew.
Both your parents knew.
Yeah, my dad did know. And it turns out it had always been a possibility.
Can I just ask a quick question? Were they long into their marriage when this affair happened?
No.
Or was it they were early in their marriage?
Early in their marriage and like very typical young married couple without a lot of experience outside of their own little world.
Yeah. And not much probably sexual experience either.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And he got a sales job. So he was working as hard as he could to like buy a house and like support them. He's gone all the time.
Yep.
They've brought home this other little baby.
Yeah.
My sister, and she was born with a lot of like physical needs. She had Down syndrome.
Your mom's overwhelmed.
Yeah, my mom's overwhelmed. My dad's best friend at church needs a place to live.
What?
It's like you're asking for this to happen.
Wait a second.
I mean, yeah.
Let him stay.
Yeah, because we know that because we know how adults are, but I'm not even sure they knew how adults were.
Yeah, because they only knew that kissing just in underwear and bras was all it went on TV.
Yeah, fade to black.
Yeah, fade to black.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy comes and lives in your house.
Yeah.
And they begin an affair.
Yes, ostensibly. And I kind of like, that's as far as I know.
Yeah.
Still, that's all as far as you know?
Basically.
Okay. And at some point, your mom confessed to the affair to your...
At some point, my dad caught them.
Okay.
Yeah, worse. Way worse.
Okay.
And so, which also was this like crumbling of my understanding of my parents as adults. Just trying to understand what they were going through in their 20s.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was just praying on the White House lawn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but there was so much
they worked through
going
that.
on. They worked through it, and they knew it was a possibility. They worked through it. And they moved to California and never spoke about it again.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, we were in Washington, D.C. at the time.
And they were like, we got to get away from that guy.
So now what do your parents say to you?
I think they're in their own trauma, and I think they still are in their own trauma.
Well, they just never talked about it again.
They never
They've
talked
actually
about it again.
never, which is very typical, I think, of parents of our generation and yours,
boomers,
which is
for sure,
which is like something terrible happened. Let's bury it and never speak of it again.
100%.
And our generation is very much like, let's talk everything to death.
It's because you guys aren't Jewish. I'm telling you.
Maybe that's it.
I know things about my parents' relationship and things from my father's childhood where he tells me and I'm like, why did your mother tell you that? And why are you telling me? So anyway, so let's get back. Okay, so
Yes.
your parents are, when do you sit down and have a talk with them?
So yeah, I told them I wanted space. I didn't sit down and have a talk with them right away. I just needed to
Absorb it.
think
a little
about
bit?
it. Yeah, I don't know how to explain. And we also were going through other family things in my just with between my husband and I and my daughter. And there was
Sure, you're raising kids.
She's a teenager at the time. Like we're going through stuff, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just.
You mean it didn't happen at a convenient time in your life when everything had paused?
I said things were mundane, and then
I think they weren't.
yeah. So my parents were. I think best case scenario. Now that I'm so immersed in this world, they wanted to talk to me immediately. They didn't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
They of course had reasons for why they wouldn't have ever told me or talked about it.
Yeah.
And they were apologetic. And those are things that not everybody gets.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
But they also were like, please don't tell anybody. Please don't tell a soul. Please, please, please don't tell anybody.
You're like, maybe like a podcast?
Podcast? Yeah. So please
Should I go on multiple podcasts?
what about if I tour?
What if I start my own podcast about it?
So yeah, so I they were like, please don't tell anybody. And also this isn't really a big deal. So let's just pretend this didn't. Let's just never mind.
so invalidating to you.
Yeah. So they were like, we're so sorry.
Never speak of it again.
Yeah, family is family.
Yeah, we never spoke about it again. Please join our club.
Yeah. They were like, you know, and they were kind of like, he was a jerk. So you don't need to know about him. He obviously was and he was, he did some things he shouldn't have done.
Yeah. When he was 20.
Right. They were all so young. So that was hard. So that's part of why I took space. And then in all of that, in all of this mix, the man who had called died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, yeah. So,
Whoa, all of a sudden?
yeah, he had a blood clot. Clot hit him in a parking lot.
Wow.
So now you got that DNA to worry about.
Yes. Oh, yeah, and lymphoma. So
you never got to meet him?
Never met him.
Oh,
How do you feel about
sorry.
that?
I feel regret. I feel super disappointed and kind of annoyed and angry. And also I recognize that it was incredibly fraught and complicated with my own parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of understand the relief of that from their perspective.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. And how long after the initial contact did he die?
Soon. It was 6 weeks or something.
Oh,
so
wow.
I didn't even know that he had died.
Wow.
I didn't know he had died until there's the layers. I really do have a contained version of the story, but the layers just always seem to come out. I didn't know he died until a woman contacted me the night before the funeral on Facebook Messenger to ask if my name could be included.
Oh,
in
Jesus.
his
Jeez.
children. And she wouldn't really tell me who she was, and I didn't know who knew what.
Yeah.
And her whole Facebook conversation was kind of cryptic, and I was like, who can I talk to? Is there somebody I can connect to? Because who do I talk to now? Because he was the only person I knew, and
you don't know who knows on that side.
Yeah, and she was like, it's going to be broadcast live because so many people loved him. So you could also, if you're not going to come, you could watch it online. You could stream in, and she was like, because your brother's coming in tomorrow.
Your brother.
You're like, wait a second.
Yeah, I'm like, bah! So, and I didn't even know, so many of these details that I know now, I didn't know.
Had you even talked to him on the phone?
No.
Oh, wow.
The last thing we heard was that speakerphone call where my husband said, we just need a minute. And he was like, of course.
So you never actually even talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and then eventually do you make contact with the siblings?
Yes, because the same brother.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at you because you said you were thinking about.
Oh, that's already happened to me. I don't think that's happened again.
No, you were thinking about. I was saying because you would thought oh, he must have put a lot of thought. I got a text the next day that was like, hey sis, what's up?
No. That is hysterical.
That's insane.
Amazing. Sucks about dad.
Wait, are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
That's
Is this the guy who had
This is
Previously,
the guy who had
messaged
originally
you on
contacted me.
Facebook?
Yeah.
So he has a sense of humor.
Sense of humor, very young. That was during the funeral. He texted me.
He was probably bored.
Yeah.
Sounds
so
like
bored.
those live
It
stream
was like there's all
funerals.
this talking.
And
Wow.
so did you eventually meet these people?
Well, thank you for asking, Danielle, because actually I'm taking my podcast on the road this summer to meet all of them.
Whoa.
Wow.
Kind of like one by one, driving around the country. And so we'll see how that goes.
So you've never met any of them?
That's
Never met any of them.
exciting.
And there are 6 of them?
Yeah. 6, yeah.
Wow.
I have to think about them, like 6, 7. There's one that does not want to be contact. He cut his dad off. Like he doesn't want to be a part of any. I don't know.
Well, wouldn't that be the most interesting one to talk
Yeah,
to?
that's the one you got to keep working on him.
Yeah.
You
Just
know?
be like,
look,
with those gentle messages.
Technically, I've also been cut off from him my whole life. So
neither of us can talk to him.
we are,
That is
something in common.
How are you approaching this? I'm sure you're nervous, but it's sort of
extremely
exciting in a
nervous.
way.
Yeah.
You can see, like, do I resemble these people? Do we have similar things? What is it? What do they have to say about him? How did your father? I want to ask all the questions.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do.
How and why did your father tell them?
Yeah,
because he's supposed to be. He was a minister.
He was kind of
a televangelist.
Just everything.
Was he
sort of
famous?
like a political evangelist?
Because you said he was with who's
Reagan.
He had a radio show. As far as I understand it, he had a radio, like an AM radio show.
Mm-hmm.
That was
oh my God, you should get clips of it and put it into your 6 episodes. We're producing this already.
Great, this is great. Come on, everybody on the road. We got it. So he had an AM radio station from within the White House. There was a recording studio during the Reagan era that was called like Americans for God.
Whoa.
Or like Patriots with God. Or
Yeah.
something along those lines.
Wow. Well,
and he's been a spiritual advisor, like a religious consultant to a number of like political candidates.
Do your parents know you're doing? Because they didn't want you to even mention it. So what's the fallout?
You're doing the opposite of their wishes.
The opposite. Yeah. So I waited about a year. So I was like, I think I'm going to do a podcast. And I started, and I was developing relationships with people like in these support groups, and we didn't really have anything like that for them. And I thought, wow, if like all the women could hear, specifically I was concerned about the shame of women more than anything, the shame of the mothers, and they're the ones that carry it the most for all the obvious reasons.
Women are shamed if they don't, just for having sex.
Yeah, just the shame. Yeah, the shame is so palpable. So I was like, maybe we could do something where then more and more women could, if they knew how many of us there were, they would know that there's that many moms.
Yes.
And then that would feel better. So I started the podcast.
And she's your biggest fan?
And she's my biggest fan. They wish I would not have a podcast.
Yes.
They are still determined to be supportive of me.
That's nice. Do they listen to it?
They're so nice. No.
No.
Well,
they might not understand how to listen to.
I would, and actually I was like, you never have to listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to. And then they were like, well, we tried to listen to it. And I was like, no, don't.
Yeah.
Don't listen to it. You don't even like.
There's a certain age at which people are not able to figure out podcasts. It's like the sound we can't hear after a certain age.
Yeah,
Totally.
they can't. They don't know.
They just don't even know.
Yeah. No, and my dad was really upset when I first said I'm going to do a podcast. He was very upset. And then I realized he didn't know it wasn't just like a radio show.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be something that people could tune into.
No, you have to choose.
Like in town.
Yeah.
So they did listen to a couple episodes eventually, and we're like, we couldn't handle it. We don't like it. It was too upsetting, too dramatic. And I was like, yeah, I told you never to listen.
Well, that's good though. I feel like that's best case scenario. Is that they support it and you still have a relationship, but they don't listen, because then you can just be free.
Yeah.
And not feel like I have to edit myself because I know my parents are listening,
Right.
Which is
yeah. And also like my personality as an adult or not around my parents is also different. So like a podcast is also like a side of me that I was like, just don't listen.
Don't get to know that version of don't get to know that version of me. You won't like it.
I say the F word. I talk about that cruise all the time.
Thank you so much for your story.
Great.
That's what it
so
is.
much, Eve.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, everybody check out Everything's Relative.
Yep.
With Eve, and thank you so much, Eve Sturges.
Gosh, that was so great to be had.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank
Our
you so
pleasure.
much. The podcast technically is called Everything's Relative with Eve Sturges.
Oh, okay.
But that's just so you can find it. I call it Everything's Relative podcast.
Okay.
But in case,
Okay.
lest your Google, someone is looking for it and comes up short.
Good to know.
We will link it in our socials.
Wow.
And we will be back with What Did We Learn Today?
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/Wondery. Greenlight.com/Wondery.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.
Kristine, are you ready to learn what we learned today?
Yes.
Tammy Terrell's career was interrupted when she collapsed into Marvin Gaye's arms as the two performed at a concert at Hampton Sydney College. Oh, God, a college gig.
Oh,
Imagine giving your
man.
life for a college gig.
Come on.
On October 14th, 1967. Terrell was later diagnosed with a brain tumor and had 8 unsuccessful surgeries.
Poor Tammy.
Before dying on March 16th, 1970 at the age of 24.
Turns out there was a mountain high enough.
Yes. Is that the song they sang?
I think so. I think that was one of their songs. Ain't no mountain high enough
That's
to
Marvin
keep
Gaye?
me away from you. Yeah. No wind, no wind.
So
Okay,
she didn't
sorry.
die on stage, but
Okay.
Oh,
She
that's
collapsed
so
on stage.
sad.
Yeah. Oh,
We
poor
were the-
Tammy.
We Were the Lucky Ones on Hulu. It was about a Jewish family determined to survive and reunite after being separated in World War II. Protect your brain, just don't fall.
Yes.
Foreign accent syndrome is a recognized disorder caused by damage to the brain due to trauma or stroke. It is defined as occurring when a person speaks with an accent which is measurably different to their own. FAS is not a motor speech disorder. Typically, those affected produce grammatically correct language with a broad range of sounds and vocabulary. There is no clear evidence of people speaking a different language after a brain injury. It is accent, not the language itself which changes.
What accent would you pick?
Oh.
Like you could do it really well.
That's such a good question. I know I can't do like a Spanish accent or a Scottish accent. So maybe a Scottish accent because
That's
I would
fun.
Yeah. Also, I wonder if I would understand it better.
Oh, it's really hard. Yeah, I got to put subtitles on.
Because like we're watching The Traitors England and most of the people are English, but
Yes.
some of them are Scottish. And it is hard to understand what they're saying.
Right? I was going to say Irish would be fun.
Yeah.
To do well.
So lilting and people will like you.
Yes.
It's welcoming.
They might like me. I don't know. Maybe.
Garen?
I think I might go with both of those occurred to me, and then probably British, which is the perfect accent.
Yeah.
For any occasion.
Yeah.
She just sounds so much smarter.
Yeah. Right.
In it. All right.
Unless it's that one.
Production of vowel sounds seems to be more affected than that of consonants. That's interesting. If you suspect or experience any kind of head injury, seek medical attention. Don't take the risk. The experience of being in a coma differs from person to person. Some people feel they can remember events that happened around them while they were in a coma, while others don't. So that's probably the level of consciousness, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people have reported feeling enormous reassurance from the presence of a loved one when coming out of a coma.
Aww.
That's interesting.
That
I
is
wonder if that
interesting.
means that it sounds like they don't actually hear what's going on. They just know that people are there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Oh my God, you guys. So I read this story in the LA Times about a woman who was trying to murder her husband by poisoning with Drano,
Okay.
which is pretty intense chemical, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're pouring it to like burn up hair
Yes.
and unclog your sinks. I don't even use it because it's so strong. Like
Toxic.
it's so toxic, I won't use that kind of stuff. So the sentence that really was so disturbing to me in this article was that he suspected his wife was trying to poison him when he noticed his morning hot lemonade didn't taste right.
Oh, no.
Yep. Morning hot lemonade.
What is hot lemonade? That's worse than hot cottage cheese.
Who's fucking drinking hot lemonade in the morning?
Who's ever drinking hot lemonade?
Ever at any time of day?
No.
No.
Do not tell Sven about hot lemonade.
I'm not going to tell him because he's going to be like, that sounds delicious.
It feels like
it makes your teeth hurt.
Yeah. It
right?
immediately put something into my mind. Oh, like, remember Theraflu?
Yeah.
Where you would there was a package and then you'd pour hot
still
water
exists.
over it. Okay,
Yes.
that's what I'm thinking of because you could get a lemon flavor. It tastes sort of medicinal and gross.
That's probably what this tasted like.
So I wonder. I would think it would normally taste like Drano.
Well,
hot lemonade.
I guess it
Right?
made it taste even worse with the Drano.
So he's obviously fine. He
didn't die. Yeah, and now she's on trial, and I think he's going to get the kids.
I hope so.
Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. She was also abusing the kids she was chasing them around the house with chair legs, I think, and beating them.
Jesus Christ.
And so was the grandmother. So I'm pretty sure he's going to get the kids. But yeah, the whole thing was bananas and has nothing to do.
Drano was thick.
I don't know. I don't know how. I mean,
maybe hot lemonade is thick too.
Yeah, maybe it melts stuff pretty well and she had a good whisk. I don't know.
Or she had one of those things that you inject in the drink to make it frothy.
Oh, yeah. We have those.
Yeah.
My kids love them.
Yeah.
They love to make their milk get frothy, and I like to make my coffee milk frothy. It's like a little mini latte.
Yeah, you told me about that. I
maker.
got to find that.
We got one at your party.
I know. I got to find. Where were they? I'm going to get one.
You can just get it,
Why would I get one? I don't make coffee. But
you didn't want the one at your own party.
No, I didn't win it.
I said you didn't want it. It was left on the sort of unwanted things table.
I know. Well,
that's what my son decided that table was, and then took too many things.
Yeah,
and I was like,
just our house.
I don't think that stuff was all just to take.
Can I take this pillow, Mom? I think that belongs to their couch.
Speaking of, how he got that huge thing of hot sauces?
Yes.
That's on display in his room.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
As here are my treasured objects.
That is so cute. Did I ever tell you? I got to look back and try to figure out when this was because I don't know if Oliver was 11, 12. We got a new refrigerator around September of some year, September or October.
Yeah.
And it's black.
Okay.
Still have it. And Oliver thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
And he said, "Can I consider this one of my birthday presents?" And we're like, have at it, kid.
Yeah, it's yours.
Why? He just thought it was cool looking.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that funny?
I love that.
And that's the last time he showed interest in anything in the kitchen.
Well, until Benj comes over.
I would love it. How funny would that be? Your 11-year-old teaching my 16-year-old how to fry an egg.
I would watch that show.
Oh my God, that would be the best. Benji should have a show.
Where he teaches Oliver to cook.
Or just any teenagers. Just goes around and teach. Or even adults who don't know how to cook.
Yes. Please, let's watch that.
Are we allowed to announce the thing he's going to be competing in?
Let's talk about it later.
Okay.
I want to instead share some new of our patrons for Patreon. And you know what's going to happen? Maybe I already announced these people. I guess.
Is there no way you can think of to maybe write the names down?
I have, and I'm going to just go back because I swear I am keeping track, but I'm afraid I might have missed one because let me just look. I know I listed that name. So the last one I have written down, okay. Tell me if this sounds like I said this name, the one, the only Chris Anderson.
I don't know. It's such a generic name.
All right,
it's hard
so
to remember.
I'm going to say some names, and maybe we said them already. And
All
if you get your name mentioned twice, then congratulations.
Good on you.
Good on you.
That's so nice. We name them twice.
Yeah.
All right. Karen DeMars.
That's a good name. I don't know.
I don't think we said it. So guess what? We're saying it again. If we didn't say it, thank you, Karen. You're one of the good Karens. The one, the only Chris Anderson.
Yeah, I think we did. Oh, that's the name? The one, the only Chris Anderson? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we said that.
Did we say Sherry?
Just Sherry?
Yeah, just Sherry. She's you know who she is? She's the Sherry from the
from the
Steve Perry song.
Yeah.
Oh, Sherry.
Sherry. She just goes by Sherry now. She dropped the O. You know why?
Because she's not Irish anymore?
She's not with him anymore. Ashley Bacard.
Bacard or Picard?
Bacard.
Okay. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley. We
Thank
like
you,
you,
Sherry.
and we like your name. Andrew Drinkwater.
That sounds
That
familiar
sounds
too.
familiar.
You know what, guys? Guess what? I'm gonna read 5 more names because I think
Are
those-
they also going to be ones we've already heard?
No, these are new ones.
I love teasing you.
David Clegg. Nope, Craig.
Yeah, we see David on
We know
Facebook,
about.
I
We
think.
know you, and we see you. We know what you're up to. So stop. Oh, listen to this one. This is fun. Travis.
Ooh.
Bet you didn't hear me say
Is
that
that
name
a
before.
first name or a last name?
It's everything.
Okay.
It's everything, guys. All right. Listen to this one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Kelly Selberg.
Sully.
And I.E. Kelly. I like that. She's doing things different. She's shaking it up.
Wait, for example, Kelly? No,
Or is she from the Inland
No.
Empire?
For example,
What do you mean, I.E. Kelly?
Kellie.
Oh,
Instead of a
didn't
Y.
you think she meant I.E.?
I.E. For example, Kelly. She's got a strange name.
Wait, does I.E. mean for example, or does it mean in other words? I'm trying to remember.
I think it's for example.
Okay.
Here's one that I don't think this is their real name. Roll for Depression.
No.
Yeah, that's a funny D&D reference.
I assumed.
Okay, I'm just counting.
Uh-huh.
I have a strict... Erica Lane.
Oh, that sounds like a soap opera name. If I
Right?
ever heard one. That's a
I
good
mean,
one.
come on, Erica. We know you're on a soap opera. Just tell us which one, and we won't watch it. Amy. Thanks, Amy, for joining. I don't know your last name because it's not here, but we love you. And
Standard Amy? Standard Amy?
Standard Amy.
It's no AIMEEMEE
Nope,
or anything?
standard.
Okay.
For example. All right, this is the last one of the day. Lucas Malone.
Ooh, that's a heartbreaker.
Doesn't
Lucas
that sound?
Malone.
Yeah, that sounds like he could replace Colin Farrell as our favorite man.
Yes, Lucas Malone.
Or Pedro Pascal. These are our 2 favorite men, right?
They're not my 2 favorite men, but I enjoy them.
Who are your 2 favorite men? Go.
Well, I do like a Ryan Gosling. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure.
Even though he is not my normal ideal of physically.
Yeah,
I
like
him very much.
And his face looks goofy 50% of the time.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
Well, my heart belongs to Michael Keaton. That's now and forever.
I don't.
You just don't get it. Did
Well,
you see him on the Oscars? He's 70.
Yeah, I
he
mean,
still looked hot.
I think he's like very talented, and I think he's comedically gifted, and I think he's dramatically gifted.
Yes.
I think he looks like kind of a little bit of an asshole.
Apparently, he's not though.
Yeah, I don't know that he is. He just gives off like dick vibes.
Does that surprise you? Then that I find actually, I don't think he gives off dick vibes, but I understand why you say that.
I think there's like a level of like macho-ness that you're into that I do not like.
Yeah, but I wouldn't consider him macho.
He gives off like, I'm from New York.
He's cocky.
Yeah, I don't like hockey. I don't like
He did give
any cockiness.
I heard the story, I don't know if it's true, but when he was dating Courtney Cox a million years ago, they were pretty hot and heavy, as my mother would say. And she wanted to get married. And he gave her a diamond.
Okay.
But didn't give her a ring.
Oh, come on.
No. Loose diamond?
Yeah.
There's a loose diamond.
Like, I'll spend money on you, but I don't want to get married.
Not the real thing,
This
honey.
gem.
Enjoy this diamond.
That was a very long time ago. There are other men I like, I just probably can't think of right now.
Christopher Maloney.
Yes, I
You
do
like
love
him?
a Christopher Maloney. Yeah.
I know what you like.
Yeah.
No, I don't know everything you like. There's still things you can surprise me with.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone, for subscribing to our Patreon. You have access to all our secrets.
Yeah.
We'll be revealing more secrets.
We'll be saying your names 5 more times. That's how much we love you.
Yes.
You should put that in the perks. may be named many times.
Yes.
You'll hear names so many times. You'll become uncomfortable.
1 to 13 times.
You'll ask us to stop saying your name.
Stop saying my name.
It's starting to get weird.
Yeah.
We will stalk you.
Right.
Anytime. Nope.
That's not what you meant to say.
I didn't. Anyway, thanks for listening. Until next time, remain calm.